Hey neighbor, I've heard a nasty little rumor going around. No, not about your mom. It's actually about the Rolling Stone magazine, a publication that I know is the most trusted source in media, of course, if the year was 1987. I know I need to sit down and make my own list of my top favorite vocalists of all time, and a lot come to mind, probably too many. I really don't want to spout off and then be held to that later. It's not always about perfection when it comes to singing every note and key. It depends on the genre, so I expect that to affect not only my own list, but obviously Rolling Stone as well, so hit that like button and let's get to it. Rosalia, I've been hearing a lot of buzz about, but haven't really listened to her myself, so I can't really say, but it does feel very early for her to be appearing. Glenn Danzig, that is an iconic voice, and of course, I don't want you guys to think that I'm going to hate every single thing on this list, and I don't think that's most people's problems based on what I've heard. Billie Eilish at 198 is definitely a little iffy. That makes me feel weird because I know that there were some massive snubs, and this is not a slam towards Billie, but I think even she herself would say, I'm not maybe the strongest singer, vocalist out there, and it feels weird for her to be here, but Celine Dion isn't. Burna Boy at 197, another artist that I am, I guess, a little bit familiar with, but have never really been a fan, but I know how influential he's been, but not really anything else I can add. Kelly Clarkson, the first season of American Idol, the first ever American Idol, and probably the only person still relevant from that show to this day. No, but Kelly Clarkson is the real deal. I think her voice is just incredible, and songs like Since You've Been Gone, no matter what the genre, because I've heard it in many different styles, a good song is a good song. Jungkook from BTS at 191, I do think that from what I've heard, him and RM, I guess, are the ones that I enjoyed most vocally. Frank Ocean at 190, you love to see it. The man has such a sultry, emotive voice that I think most people probably fell in love with around the Channel Orange era, and many are still desperately waiting for more to this day. Alicia Keys, Karen O from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I actually got to see the Yeah Yeah Yeahs at Riot Fest last year, and that was really awesome. Bob Seger is spot on. I had a feeling that he would appear. This is a good entry here. SZA has proven herself to be extremely exquisite as a vocalist and expressive as well. Iggy Pop at 176, leader of a punk revolution in multiple projects. Right under that, of course, Iggy Pop and Lana Del Rey. Taylor Swift also seems to think that Lana's one of the best vocalists of all time, and just as somebody who listens to a lot of music and a lot of voices, hers has never struck me as anything interesting. What's with these homies dissing Lana Del Rey? Sorry, lame Weezer pun there, but Buddy Holly, the late Buddy Holly, who died very early on in his music career, but yes, an awesome voice. Chris Stapleton at 170, it's great to see his voice, his powerful voice for the world of country and folk singer-songwriter, just tough as nails, but also really kind of powerful, emotional stuff. Debbie Harry, of course, fantastic. Blondie, even with her own solo stuff. Mark Anthony, I don't know about one of the best of all time. Morrissey still made the cut. Morrissey still gets a pass from Rolling Stone, but we can't get Celine, and I'm sure many of the other snubs that I'm going to be furious about later. Ronnie James Dio is definitely a great pick to see for representation from the metal world, and even his time in Black Sabbath is definitely a little bit underrated. Yeah, underrated, I said it. There's Brenda Lee at number 161, and if that doesn't immediately ring a bell, think of what song hits number 2 every single year on the Hot 100, because it's blocked by the worst song, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Mercedes Sosa, Mississippi John Hurt. That was somebody that my dad actually talked about. Wow, that is alarms going off way back in nostalgia. But my dad has always had an interest in, I guess, Southern Southern music of all kinds. I don't know if I see a world in which Carrie Underwood is placing higher than Chris Stapleton. I guess I was wrong about somebody else being relevant from American Idol. She is. It's just that she definitely overcame the association with that show. There's the God of Goths. It's Robert Smith at 157. No disagreements there other than the fact that, well, I am glad it appeared, but it should probably be up a lot higher inside, like the top. At least 75. Does anybody paint and echo misery better than Robert Smith? Hey, Corin Tucker from Slater-Kinney. That's a nice shout. Although I am still a little bitter at the two that remain in the band, the mainstays, because Janet Weiss deserves better. Michael Stipe from REM at 152. That is something that I can get on board with. No one knows it's you, Miss Jackson. Miss Wanda Jackson. Nice microphone, by the way. I just looked it up. Wanda Jackson is now 85 years old. She is still with us, so let's treasure her, even though I don't really know her music. I'll change that. Levon Helm of The Band. Not the band that I can't remember the name of. No, The Band. Barbra Streisand at 147. That is definitely a name that I expected would be in here somewhere. And then you have Ruth Brown, a legendary R&B singer at 146. PJ Harvey, an artist that I've always meant to dive more into. Maybe that's my sign, 2023, me and PJ Harvey's discography. Give me suggestions in the comments. What album should I start with? Kudos to Rolling Stone for the description on this. Boasting the biggest voice of the Y2K teen idol crop. Wow, just because of the crop tops and everything too. Bono at 140 is an inclusion I can get behind. As much as I may not be into U2, Rolling Stone, wait, don't they go way back? Isn't there like this whole conspiracy that Rolling Stone and Bono... Merle Haggard. Oh God, there is a name that I definitely grew up with and did not enjoy. Don't kill me. I'm sorry. I respect and all, but no, not for me. Maybe it was just because I was forced to listen to his music all the time. So I'm sorry. Respects if they're due, but meh. Lauryn Hill at 136, a famous one-album wonder right there, but miseducation of Lauryn Hill was so huge. It was weird just seeing this because I just heard one of those songs out in public literally today. Axl Rose, baby, Axl Rose. That's a choice. I just feel like he's up a little high, you know what I mean? Neil Young at 133. I definitely agree with seeing Neil here. I'm wondering if we'll see any of his on and off again bandmates, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Loretta Lynn, wow, she just passed away too. R.I.P. to an absolute legend, the coal miner's daughter. For any rock fans out there that, watch my channel and are fans of Jack White, look up the collaboration album that Jack did with her back in the 2000s, mid-2000s, 2004 maybe. It's not on streaming, unfortunately, so I'll put a link in the description for you to check it out on YouTube. Jeff Buckley needs to be way, way, way higher up. I don't even need to see the reasoning behind it. I mean, it seems like it's all positives, but Jeff Buckley, that voice is so chilling. It's like a tortured angel, and it was so beautiful, taken way too soon. And if you can't tell, I have become a huge fan of his, and he definitely is one of my favorite vocalists ever. Courtney Love at 130. That's a little bit of a tough pill to swallow after seeing Jeff Buckley there. I'm not going to deny Courtney's talent. I've never been a huge fan of Hole outside of a few songs. Her voice is unique, but I don't know if it being up this high is for anything other than brownie points. Ooh, look at us. We're Rolling Stone. We make edgy selections. Click, 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 click. Rob Halford. There we go. I have been getting a little bit more into Judas Priest. Okay, I know. Pat myself on the back. Oh, I patted my pillow. Help, I'm being held hostage by Mike Lindell's Sin Secret Lab. Florence Welch is one of my favorite vocalists as well, so I am very happy to see this one. She's just got something special, and you could tell that from the early performances in the States, at least, of Lungs, like at the MTV Awards. It broke out further from there. I fell in love with Ceremonials, and the rest is history. Joe Strummer of The Clash, a classic band right there, except for that one album that we ignore at the end of the discography that wasn't really his choice. Karen Carpenter, wow, that one actually warms my heart a little bit because around the holidays, I tend to listen to the Carpenters' music a lot. There's a warmth and a comfort in Karen's voice that just, there isn't anything like it these days. Chrissie Hynde from The Pretenders at 114 is a solid, influential pick that's a bit unexpected. I didn't, I guess, go into this list expecting to see it, but very cool nonetheless. La India and Ozzy Osbourne back-to-back. That is a cataclysmic event. Fiona Apple at 111. One of my all-time favorite artists. I think she's just incredible. She doesn't have a bad album to her name. The Weeknd at 110. Awesome picture. They're picking some badass photos. I will say that. I do agree with, Abel Tesfaye, of course, talent behind a lot of the biggest hits that we've heard for, the past 10 years now. Roger Daltrey, okay, from The Who. There we go. So are we also going to see Pete? And is the rivalry going to spark up from this between them? More than likely, yes. Lou Reed at 107. I feel guilty. This is like one of my admissions as a music reviewer guy on the internet. I have never really been into the Velvet Underground at all, and I have never liked Lou Reed's voice. And that is off my back. Bill Withers at 106, though, that absolutely changes the sunshine entirely. In fact, I'm feeling like there ain't no sunshine because he's gone. Rest in peace, Bill. We're about to hit the top 100, and I feel like I'm losing electrolytes already. Eddie Vedder at 105. It's going to be interesting to see if there's other grunge vocalists and how high they rank, but Eddie is the only one out of those other than Jerry that's still living, so protect him at all costs. Hallelujah. It's Leonard Cohen at number 103, a very, very deep, pronounced, and distinctive voice that filled the room. Taylor Swift at 102, I'm sure that some people are going to have a problem with that. Like, oh, look at this back-to-back, this invalidates the list. But it feels like they're really trying to mix and pick and choose between whether they want to be like the definitive list or like the typical magazine list, or if they also just want to appease certain fandoms. And I'm not saying that Taylor Swift shouldn't be included. In fact, most of you watching probably know that I am quite the Taylor Swift fan most of the time. And I just spilled my Gatorade. Look what you made me do, you little jerks. The Rocket Man drops in first on the new page at number 100. That makes way too much sense, but of course Elton John belongs here. He's been a little overexposed lately though, so I'm glad it's not top 10 or anything, even though he is great. Bob Marley at number 98. He definitely had an extremely powerful connection through simplicity sometimes in the writing, of course, but there was a sense of melody and just a calming presence to his voice much of the time that really spoke to people and continues to speak to people. So this being inside the top 100 checks out. Usher at number 97. Yeah. Stevie Nicks, as I said at the beginning of the video, one of my personal all-time favorites, so of course I'm going to praise the pick and say, maybe you could have pushed Fleetwood's vocalist a little bit higher up, but I'm expecting to see the now late Christine McVie as well. Gal Costa, I am so sorry. I almost thought that said Gal Gadot for a second, and I was like, they are not about to put this Imagine cover on here. They cannot do that to us. I miscalculated the cringe. I'm sorry, my coordinates were off. I apologize. Michael Jackson at 86. That is not smooth, you absolute criminals. You have to feel like the allegations and stuff and just the whole icky nature surrounding him probably impacted it a little bit. They're like, maybe for the advertisers, we don't throw him in the top 10 like he belongs. Johnny Cash is a voice I will never, ever forget. Hurt came on, And I swear to God, like I had like a tear, like a single tear fall down my eye. And I was like, wait, like where is this coming from? Why am I feeling such a pain? And that's when I realized how powerful voices can be. Amy Winehouse at number 83, another voice that was taken way too soon, a member of the 27 Club. Steve Perry of Journey, I think anybody would recognize and know some of their biggest hits. And of course, he was a part of almost all of them, at least the good ones. Chris Cornell at number 80. So there goes my question from earlier. I'm glad that we got Chris. Janis Joplin at number 78. Wow, wow, wow. This feels like a bit of an injustice. And even as somebody who's not like the number one fan of her style out there, it could be a bit abrasive at first. When she unleashes, when she lets it belt, you feel that, like an earthquake in your soul. Beyond Muddy Waters, there's a series that I'm not as familiar with until we get up to Rihanna, a pop star that I'm sure that we're all at least a little bit familiar with, even if we don't really want to be. Now, that's not me personally. I'm saying that I know some people who were absolutely sick of her music, and she was overexposed for a while, but she's been out of the public eye and not really dropping a ton of music, but she definitely has a standout voice. York at number 64, another artist that I've been told time and time again is going to be my best experience ever, but I haven't unlocked it yet. At least not totally. I am warming up a little bit, like my climates are changing. Robert Plant at 63, I personally love this pick. I know some people are like, he sounds like a dying cat, or whatever other invalid fallacies that you'd like to spread.
The fallacies.
Kate Bush, I know, hate me all you want, but Stranger Things did get me to dive a little bit deeper into Kate's music, and it's definitely been a fantastic experience. How can you not, at the very least, respect Lady Gaga as a vocalist? She's classically trained. She sings her ass off, and if you don't believe me, listen to the isolated vocal track from the Super Bowl halftime show.
I've got 100 million reasons to walk away.
Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys at 57. They did him dirty with this pick, though. I mean, you're going to catch my guy out here wearing his own merch. Help me, Rhonda, in quotes. I mean, come on. He deserves better. Tina Turner at number 55. That is a voice that once you hear it, you do not forget. And Willie Nelson, I guess the same, or maybe the opposite could be said. Maybe you just get the stoner and it's like a cross buzz effect that comes through the speaker and then you're stoned with Willie too. I think a lot of people will be happy to see Mick Jagger all the way up at 52. I don't know if I'm one of those people. Feels a little high for me. I don't know. Joni Mitchell right there at 50. Somehow that feels absolutely perfect. Rod Stewart, I'm trying to get the bias out of my head. I'm just trying to isolate the vocals as the vocals. What a powerhouse at 46, Mavis Staples. And I love Hozier for introducing a totally new crowd with Nina Cried Power. Ella Fitzgerald coming immediately after Mavis Staples. That has to make you smile. Two incredible Black voices that just really impacted the world in a very positive way and stood for change at the same time. James Brown at number 44. My wife would be cheering for that one. Ariana Grande at 43. A very distinctive voice in pop, but that far ahead of Lady Gaga? You've got to be trolling. Ariana can obviously sing. It's very evident, but I do feel like she relies a little bit more heavily on studio tricks, but I don't know, maybe that's me. Louis Armstrong at number 39. Wow, that is a selection that I know people like, even in funk bands like the Chili Peppers. Flea talked about Louis Armstrong a lot in his book. And Van Morrison at 37. And spoiler, I saw the top of his head and knew immediately. Kurt Cobain at number 36. It's a voice that's apparently going to rank higher than most for grunge, although I'm still hopeful, fingers crossed, that we're going to see Lane Staley. There's Thomas York at number 34. Look at the madman and the shades. I absolutely love it. They did the opposite of doing him dirty. The opposite. I didn't even mean to do it. The puns write themselves. There's a Starman at number 32. David Bowie. Of course. What else can you really add to this? Of course, you know that Bowie is going to appear. I just thought that he would have been higher. Dolly Parton at number 27. Bless you, Dolly, the godmother of America right there, and a voice that just aged like fine wine, and it pairs up so well, especially with her goddaughter Miley Cyrus. Why are they so good? There's Paul McCartney at number 26, meaning John Lennon is going to rank higher than Paul. And I, for one, disagree, but I know that that is the ongoing debate that will live forever. We just saw Paul live in concert last May, and he sounded better than when I had seen him in like 2017. Mary J. Blige at number 25, a voice that is so synonymous with modern R&B and soul music that it's not even funny, it's undeniable. Smokey Robinson at number 23, a big Motown R&B success story still to this day. Adele all the way up at 22. I just can't help but feel it's buying into the hype just a little bit there, Rolling Stone. Like, of course, Adele is an incredible talent. Her voice, when it bellows out of Red Rocks or wherever she's playing, of course, it feels emotive in some way. But is it number 22 all time? I don't know. Nina Simone at number 21. Yes, an incredible selection. Yes, to Marvin Gaye immediately after. A voice that is so instantly recognizable that I would dare call it one of the top 5 of all time. You just know. Frank Sinatra at number 19, a voice that I grew up hearing a whole lot because my dad was a Sinatra man, and that wasn't a bad thing. I loved when my dad would throw on his jazz records. I'm gonna keep talking about my dad because he's always been a huge music guy. He's just got a little bit of weird taste, but he loves like super old stuff like this, but he loves to impersonate Elvis. 1,000 yeses to Prince appearing. And since I brought up Super Bowl halftime shows earlier with Gaga, Prince, another all-timer. Bob Dylan at 15 is a massive hot take. I'll call it a hot take because I hate calling things L's. But Bob Dylan's voice, to me, I kind of feel like it would be if I lit this candle on fire and just slowly let wax drip in there. I would imagine it's a combination of that and like sandpaper playing around because I have never liked this man's voice. You see what I'm talking about with inconsistency here? Because there's Freddie Mercury, an obvious pick for the top 20. I probably thought he was a shoo-in for the top 10, but at this point, what do I know? Patsy Cline all the way at 13. Wow. Her career was cut short. She passed away at the age of 30. I'm 31 now. Oh, I outlived Patsy Cline. We now know where Rolling Stones stand on the debate, but where do you guys stand on the debate? McCartney or Lennon? Or, I don't know, let's throw a wrench in the gears. I'm gonna say Harrison. There is the inspiration himself, Little Richard at 11. So influential to the likes of so many white stars that unfortunately probably stole a lot of his style and from his image and everything, but Little Richard was one of a kind and could never be replicated. So rest in peace. So I just scrolled forward a little bit more and I noticed something, and it feels a little bit strange and unnerving. Like, I'm not even kidding when I say that gives me a weird feeling in my stomach if this is actually what's going down right now. But it looks like everybody in the top 10 they've selected is a black artist. Ray Charles, Mariah Carey, Billie Holiday, Sam Cooke, Whitney Houston, and Aretha Franklin. That's closing out their top 10. All of these are incredible talents, but this, it comes across as like petty clicks, like trying to attract attention to the list for the wrong reasons. And I understand that we are putting an emphasis, as it should, to, like I was just saying earlier, I feel that a lot of people have borrowed so much from black culture and don't give it back and don't give the credit where it's due. And if that is the reparations that Rolling Stone's trying to pay, I don't know if that's the right way to go about it. It is just making your entire top 10 black artists. And it feels like you're doing it for the wrong reasons. It's like, oh, you know, like, here's this award that we got for you that you like didn't ask for and weren't trying to compete for, but they're giving it to you anyways. Again, do not twist my words. All of these are incredible vocalists, even if I don't love music from every single one of them. For example, I've never been a Mariah Carey fan, but do I respect her as a vocalist? Yes, most of the time. No, but seriously, Miss Franklin, number 1, of course, I agree with and applaud that pick. But just when you make your entire top 10 feel like you're trying to make a statement on behalf of somebody else. It feels a little tacky to me. I don't know. Anybody else? Light up the discussion in the comments. Let me know what you thought about that. And of course, their entire list. There were some that I omitted due to time, so if you want to see the full list, there is a link to the Rolling Stone article in the description. I personally think it was kind of whack overall and a very weird, inconsistent roller coaster, but that's just my 2 cents. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe for the love of music, and if you want to check out some other videos that I've reacted to with Rolling Stone lists, then tap the cards that are on screen now. I will see you guys soon when I get back from my honeymoon. Thanks